I never thought I'd be alive long enough to meet her. In a galaxy where stars died young and empires fell faster than planets could orbit, survival was rare and trust was rarer. And yet, there she was, Eris Kale, known across 12 star systems as the universe's deadliest. Her reputation alone could ignite planetary wars. They said she could disassemble a fleet of warships before breakfast and silence entire colonies with nothing but her voice. But when our paths crossed, her deadliness never extended toward me. I first saw her on the outskirts of the Veil Nebula, aboard a derelict mining station that looked like it had been abandoned for a century. I was a scavenger, collecting old star drives and contraband tech, and I wasn't expecting company. Least of all her. She entered like a shadow in a supernova, stepping silently through the broken corridors. I froze when I saw her. Tall, lithe, with eyes the color of black holes, reflecting every light around her. She didn't draw a weapon, didn't say a word. She just stared, and I felt something strange, less fear, more recognition. "Who are you?" I asked cautiously, my hand hovering near the plasma cutter at my belt. "Eris Kale," she replied, her voice low and controlled, like the hum of a star's dying pulse. "I kill what needs killing. I do not kill what is not." It sounded like a riddle, but the way she looked at me, I understood immediately that she meant it. I had spent years running from bounty hunters, raiders, and mercenary lords, but Eris Kale wasn't here to chase me. She didn't follow me like the others. In fact, she didn't even acknowledge their existence as threats. It was as if the universe itself had drawn her attention to me, singularly, and decided I was exempt from her wrath. We sat across from each other in the control room of the station. I was still shaking, and she didn't flinch at the sight. The faint flicker of neon lights bounced off the scars on her armor, scars that told stories of countless battles, wars, and betrayals. I couldn't imagine the death she had dealt. Entire governments must have fallen because of her. Yet here she was, calm, almost contemplative, not a trace of menace in her gaze toward me. "I need your help," I admitted finally. It was reckless, but she seemed to inspire honesty. "There's a ship, one of the old Sentinel-class freighters, with a cargo that could destabilize the Centauri coalition if it falls into the wrong hands. I can't retrieve it alone." She tilted her head, observing me as if weighing the worth of my soul. "And what makes you think I care about the coalition?" "I don't know," I said honestly. I've read about you. The stories. They make you sound unstoppable." Her lips curved into a fraction of a smile, tiny, almost imperceptible. "Stories exaggerate," she said. Then she stood. "Come. If we are to survive this, you will need to follow my lead." For the next 3 days, she taught me the kind of survival most people could only read about in Hollywood. How to move undetected in asteroid fields, how to manipulate gravitational currents to hide our ship, and how to strike without leaving a trace. Her methods were elegant and terrifying in equal measure. And all the while, she never harmed me, never raised her weapon in anger toward me. Her reputation as the deadliest wasn't because she killed indiscriminately. It was because she chose her targets with precision. And somehow, I had become one of the exceptions. By the time we reached the derelict freighter, drifting near the outer rim of the vortex expanse, I had begun to trust her, though my mind still screamed warnings. The freighter was massive, with hull breaches exposing its cargo bays to the void. But Eris moved like liquid shadow, bypassing security systems I hadn't even seen. "Stay close," she whispered, and I did. Inside, the freighter was alive with danger. Automated sentries, decayed circuits sparking erratically, and gravity fields that shifted without warning. I froze as one sentinel turned, its sensors flicking on. But Eris moved with a speed that blurred her silhouette. In a heartbeat, it was disassembled, parts scattered across the chamber. Not a sound, not a scream, just silence. I swallowed hard. How do you do that? She didn't answer. She simply gestured for me to continue forward. We reached the cargo hold, and my jaw dropped. Inside were stacks of crystalline containers, pulsating with blue energy. I had seen such things only in ancient records. The heart of Erythra, a substance said to grant the wielder the ability to manipulate stars themselves. If it fell into the wrong hands, it could obliterate entire star systems. Are you going to take it? I asked, awe creeping into my voice. She crouched, running her fingers along the containers. This belongs to no one, she said softly. But some forces are worse than death itself. We cannot allow them to have it. We lifted the containers onto our ship. I kept glancing at her, noticing the subtle tension in her shoulders, the way she moved with controlled aggression even when unprovoked. Despite being the deadliest being in the known universe, there was a gentleness in her when it came to me, a protection I hadn't earned, yet she gave it willingly. The return journey was tense. We were pursued by mercenary fleets, war drones, and rogue sentinels. But every time, she was there, striking with impossible efficiency. I couldn't keep up, not physically or mentally, yet I never felt endangered, not by her at least. The universe itself seemed to bend around us when she moved, parting threats like water flows around a stone. One night, I finally asked the question that had haunted me since our meeting. Why not me? She didn't answer immediately. We were floating near a collapsed star, watching the remnants burn in silent fury. Because, she said at last, her eyes reflecting the dying light, some things are not meant to be destroyed. You are one of them. I wanted to argue, to protest that I was just a scavenger, a nobody. But I couldn't. Her certainty was absolute, unshakable. It was as if her understanding of life and death operated on a plane far beyond my comprehension. By the time we reached the Coalition outpost, we were exhausted. The containers were secured, the threats neutralized, and the freighter that had once threatened the balance of the galaxy was now nothing more than space debris. The Coalition officers stared at Eris with a mix of fear and reverence. "You're real," one of them whispered. She only nodded, then turned toward me. "The universe has its order," she said, "and sometimes it spares those it finds worth sparing." I didn't fully understand, not then. But I realized something vital. There are beings who exist beyond morality, beyond fear, beyond death itself, and some choose, against all reason, to extend mercy. Before she left, she placed a hand on my shoulder, firm but gentle. "Remember this," she said. "Survival is more than skill. It's understanding when to fight and when to walk away untouched." And then she was gone. I watched her silhouette disappear into the void, leaving me alone with the knowledge that I had survived encounters that would have destroyed the strongest fleets, the most cunning generals. I had survived because she chose not to end me. Months passed, and stories of the heart of Erythra spread across the galaxy. But there was no record of Eris Kale saving a scavenger, no mention of the quiet mercy she had extended. Only I knew the truth, that the deadliest being in the universe had spared me, not because she owed me anything, but because, in some inscrutable way, the universe had decided I was worth it. And sometimes, in the silence of my quarters aboard my refurbished freighter, I would look at the stars and imagine her moving among them, a shadow against the light, the universe's deadliest, but never against me. Because some exceptions exist, rare and inexplicable. Some people are spared not by chance, but by forces that defy understanding. And I had become one of those exceptions. The galaxy continued to turn, wars raged, empires fell, but in the vast, endless chaos, I carried with me a singular truth. Mercy is a weapon as powerful as any starship or laser cannon, and those who wield it wisely leave marks that last far beyond the reach of death. And that is how I survived the deadliest of beings. We reached the Coalition outpost at the edge of the Orion Expanse. The containers of the heart of Erythra were secured, and the threat that had loomed over entire star systems was neutralized. Coalition officers watched us with a mix of awe and fear. Ships had been lost in pursuit, mercenaries eliminated, and rogue sentinels dismantled. None of it made a sound in the reports. They only recorded the mission as successful, anonymous, but I knew better. Eris Kale stood beside me, her shadow long under the pale glow of the outpost's energy pylons. She was quiet, unassuming, but I felt the weight of countless battles she carried, battles I could only imagine. I still didn't understand fully why she had chosen to protect me. Finally, I asked the question that had been pressing against my mind like gravity. Why me? Out of all the people in the universe, why spare me? She looked at me, her gaze unflinching. Because, she said slowly, as if weighing each word against the fate of galaxies, some things are not meant to be destroyed. Some lives are exceptions. You are one of them. I wanted to protest, to tell her I was just a scavenger, insignificant, unworthy. But I realized that wasn't the point. She didn't see me as a nobody. She saw me as something rare, something that deserved survival. In a universe where death was a constant, that was a gift beyond comprehension. She stepped closer, her hand brushing against my shoulder, firm yet unexpectedly gentle. Remember this, she said. True power is not measured by what you destroy, but by what you choose to protect. And then she left. Just like that. Vanished into the void without a trace, leaving me alone under the endless night sky. Days turned into weeks, and life resumed its chaotic rhythm. Star systems continued to clash, empires rose and fell, and the heart of Erythra was rumored to be lost forever. But in quiet moments, when the hum of my ship settled into silence, I felt her presence in the shadowed corners of space. I could almost hear her words echo. Mercy is the deadliest weapon of all. I began to live differently. I became more cautious, yes, but also more deliberate. I started helping those who couldn't help themselves, taking risks to protect others where I once would have run. I realized that survival wasn't just about escaping death. It was about giving meaning to life in a universe that often seemed indifferent to it. Years later, I would hear stories, legends really, of the universe's deadliest woman, Eris Kale, moving silently through the stars, eliminating threats, righting wrongs in ways no one could track. And though I never saw her again, I knew she was out there, a force beyond reckoning. But I also knew something else. She had left me a mark that could not be erased. A memory of mercy in a world ruled by violence. A reminder that even in the darkest corners of space, someone might choose to spare you, and that choice could change everything. And so I survived, not just because she spared me, but because I learned what she had silently taught me. The universe may be filled with the deadliest beings, the most impossible dangers, and the endless inevitability of death, but it also leaves exceptions. And sometimes, those exceptions carry the power to change everything. In the end, I didn't just survive Eris Kale. I survived myself. And that, I realized, was the rarest victory of all.